Welcome to Akshadare, everyone. Good morning, guys. Good morning, friends. Just have it start today's newspaper session. So I know how I will explain how to open the newspaper. If you have subscribed to the e-papers, let me start the session today's session with this man page, the Hindu newspaper. Fabricated cases, Delhi CM. D7 commits G7 commits to quit fossil fuels faster. A new sort of regional alignment. Rise of China, decline of American influence. Kerala train Arun Hassan case. Hassan was an act of terror. UP government forms a judicial commission to investigate killing of Hadik brother. The panel, led by a retired High Court judge, will have to submit report in 2 months, while opposition terms the shooting a failure of law and order in the state. Some BJP ministers term the deaths divine justice. 3 accused in judicial custody. It's very highlighted news today. So let me start this news. The Uttar Pradesh government on Sunday set up a 3-member judicial commission to inquire into the killing of gangster turned politician Atiq Ahmad and his brother Khalid Ajim Akash, whose lost rights were held late in the evening amid heavy security. Ahmad and Ajim, both accused in the Umesh Paul murder case, were shot dead by 3 men on Saturday night as police personnel were escorting them to a hospital in Prayagraj for a checkup. The commission, headed by retired Allahabad High Court Judge Arvind Kumar Tripathi, will have to submit its findings to the government within 2 months. Retired Judge Rajesh Kumar Soni and former Director General of Police Subhesh Kumar Singh are the other members. On Sunday morning, the authorities suspended mobile and broadband internet services across Prayagraj and deployed security personnel in sensitive areas to maintain law and order. Soon after the murders, the police invoked the Section 144 of the Criminal Code procedure prohibiting the assembly of more than 4 persons. Opposition leaders demanded a court-monitored probe into the killings, which took place in the presence of police personnel and TV cameras, describing it as a failure of law and order. They also demanded the dismissal of the Yogi Adityanath government. However, the state government declared that the shooter were not checked because they posed as media persons, while some ministers termed the deaths divine justice. A Prayagraj court sent the 3 accused to judicial custody for 14 days. The shooter were identified as Charun Maurya, 18 from Akasganj, Lavlesh Tiwari, 22 from Bhanda, and Sunny Purani, 23 from Amirpur. Lavlesh and Sunny have criminal backgrounds and are facing charges of attempts to murder, assault, molestation, and others. It will be available in the next 8th, 9th, 10th page. So next page, NCMC gets a lukewarm response from metro users. Despite 5 lakh number metro passengers only use the National Common Mobility Card to travel every day, many are likely to shift to it only after BMTC also starts accepting the card. Park and recreation residents start online petition against new rules in Kaban Park. Poll code puts the brakes on Bharat Gaurav Kashi Darshan trains. In November, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the Bharat Gaurav tourist train from Bengaluru. Karnataka polls, nothing is more important for street vendors than vending zones. Treasure Town's Ramjan food Mela opposed. The game changes of design education are here to read or not to read. With word book and the copyright day coming up, an English teacher makes a case for the teaching of original text in the literature classes. St. Mary International School. Rahul fears BJP will use corruption money to topple future Congress government. He appeals to people for a 150-seat mandate and urges leaders to implement for the four guarantee announced by party soon after coming to power. Vijayendra faces protest during campaign. Total seizures by Election Commission touch 170 crore. BJP leads attacks on Shittan and Saudi cause the move betrayal and unpardonable. BSY has no moral right to talk about us, says Saudi. Shittan resigns as MLA may join Congress. Is analyzing transfers of small amounts to check digital corruption. Personnel from the state account service have been appointed in each district to analyze suspicious transactions and alert enforcement agencies to take action against corrupt players. The Chief Electoral Officer of Karnataka Manoj Kumar. With the upcoming Karnataka Assembly election gaining notoriety for being powered by big money, often by digital means, the Election Commission is monitoring the distribution of money through wallets and online payments platforms, while seizures of cash, liquor, precious metals, and drugs have crossed 150 crores so far after the election announcement on March 29. The monitoring of online transactions has been a challenge for the Commission. In an exclusive interview with the Hindu, Karnataka Chief Electoral Commission Manoj Kumar Meena said that the Commission is collecting data on the bulk transfer of small amounts from bank accounts and analyzing it. Monitoring by banks. 10 days ago, we had a meeting with representatives from National Payment Corporation of India, the Reserve Bank of India, all online payments platforms, and money wallets support from the state level bankers committee. As all these platforms are linked to banks, we have instructed all banks to keep a watch in their own way and through their own systems. He said, we ordered that personnel from the state account service have been appointed in each district to analyze suspicious transactions. If they notice any such transaction, system have been put in place to generate feeds and inform the enforcement agency for further action. As of now, there is no case, but we are keeping a strict vigil, he asserted. Besides, any transaction of more than 1 lakh in banks is being scrutinized. We are also working on monitoring the online e-commerce delivery platforms using artificial intelligence. The movement of goods which can be seen from e-way bills and from excess consumption in the state behind the average consumption are also being used as alerts. He said, Vigil Village Intelligence to check electoral malpractices. All deputy commissioners DCs have been told to take up people into confidence at the village level and gather information. Sometimes there can be misleading information if the local people are confident that a particular DC is impartial and that they can share information with them. However, vigilance can be made even more effective. It all depends on the leadership qualities of the DC, he said, stating that vigilance is not limited to setting up checkposts and flying squads. The CEO said, we are trying our best to hold fair and inducement free polls, tackling urban apathy. Acknowledging the urban apathy is another huge challenge that the Commission faces in every election. The CEO said, we have identified 77 constituencies where the polling percentage is lower than the state average. Further, we have shortlisted polling booths in each of these 77 constituencies where the polling percentage been lower than the constituency average. Our staff are interacting with the residents in the jurisdiction of such polling booths to understand the issues that are keeping them away from voting. The issues raised are being addressed and people are motivated to come out and vote. He said the commission is also providing better facilities at polling stations, including up walking facilities. This time, we are also working on informing people about the queue in a polling station at any given time through the Chunavana mobile application. One person in the polling station will keep updating the queue, that is, the number of people waiting at the polling station, once every 15 minutes, which will give people an idea of their wait time. He said, moreover, will elections happening midweek this time, there is no excuse for people to stay away from the promoting. Mr. Meena said, CBI arrests AP's same uncle in former MP's murder case. Proposal for Sabarimala Greenfield Airport receives central approval. Lawyers criticize the move to provide free legal aid for Kerala train Alson accused. JNTBG are honored with GGI Gardens award for this year. Above 41 degrees Celsius recorded in the part of AP. Diplomacy with a challenge in terms of reference. Meditation is rarely a spontaneous act. More often than not, it is preceded by quiet efforts to seek a meeting point between differing viewpoints of individuals or organizations. It figures in Article 33 of the United Nations Charter among means of specific settlement of disputes, but in legal terms in a different form. Good officers different from a good officer and arbitration. A good instance of this was recently witnessed on the global stage. The question of motivation can be debated. In a joint statement on March 10, 2023 by Iran, Saudi Arabia and China, sitting at a table in this shape of an isosceles triangle, the three countries announced that an agreement has been reached between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Islamic Republic of Iran, covering a resumption of diplomatic relations between them and a reopening of their embassies and missions within a period not exceeding 2 months. The agreement affirmed their respect for the sovereignty of states, non-interference in the internal affairs of states, and said the ministers of foreign affairs of both countries shall meet to implement this, arrange for the return of their ambassadors, and discuss means of enhancing bilateral relations. Iranian National Security Advisor Ali Shamkhani, who is seen in the official photograph of this ceremony, is from the office of the supreme leader in Iran and lends credibility to the accord. A commentary in an Iranian newspaper on March 11 depicted the event as one agreement and seven achievements. It listed the latter as Tehran's willingness to engage in dialogue, failure of US efforts to isolate Iran, a strengthening of the alliance of Islamic countries, failure of Israeli efforts against this agreement, failure of US efforts to show the Iranian public that it has no choice but to agree to the joint comprehensive plan of action with America, Beijing's successful entry in West Asian relations, and failure of dreams of a regime change, American and Israelis' reactions. Later that month, and writing with a good deal of caution, a Chinese economic observed in the Global Times that China's diplomacy has a major power is just getting started and may even result in some marked changes in the regional state situation. The Chinese brokered agreement between Saudi Arabia and Iran reflects a new sort of regional alignment amidst America's declining influence. US reactions, apart from unconcealed surprise, reflected the change in terms of preference in international diplomacy. Equally surprised was Israel, the other major player in the region, which saw it as a fatal blow to the effort to build a regional coalition against Iran. One commentator said that China brought Saudi Arabia together with Iran at a time when Israel had a hope that the United States would bring it together with Saudi Arabia. Henry Kissinger told David Ignatius of the Washington Post that I see it as a substantial change in the strategic situation in the Middle East. The Saudis are now balancing this security by playing off the US against China. Ron Miller, who served for long as a State Department advisor in Middle East, said the development demonstrates the US influence and credibility in the region has diminished and a new sort of international regional alignment is taking place which has empowered and given both Russia and China a newfound influence and status. The backdrop to the event is noteworthy. Bilateral efforts have been underway since early 2016 to ease tensions that had developed specifically between Tehran, Riyadh, and Abu Dhabi, and generally within the Gulf of Cooperation Council. In relation to Yemen and Syria, the Emir of Kuwait and the Sultan of Oman initiated steps that were responded to by Iran. Talks were also held in Baghdad, and during Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi's visit to China in February, all concerned were worried about the attacks on shipping and energy facilities in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, and the longer-term implications of the regional conflicts that we were underway. This together brought home the risks of being on the front line of confrontation. The official visit by China's President Xi Jinping to Saudi Arabia in December 2022 also saw him attending the first China-Arab State Summit and the China GCC Summit. The theme of his address was building on past achievements and jointly creating a brighter future of China GCC. Relations to China and the GCC stressed should be partners for common security. China will continue to firmly support GCC countries in safeguarding their security and support the efforts by countries of the region to resolve differences through dialogue and consultations and to build a Gulf security architecture. China is said welcomes the participation of GCC countries in the global security initiative in a joint effort to uphold regional peace and stability. The speech laid stress on five priority areas: energy cooperation, finance and investment cooperation, innovation, science and technology, aerospace cooperation, and the Chinese language and cultural cooperation. An action plan for 2023 to 2027 was agreed upon, and comprehensive strategic partnership agreement with specific agreement and some memoranda of understanding were also signed. It said the two have supported each other's core interests. The Chinese side commended the effort made by the kingdom to serve Chinese Hajj and Umrah pilgrims. The statement stressed the importance of deepening a joint cooperation with regard to the Belt and Road Initiative and on attracting Chinese expertise in Saudi mega projects. The two sides signed a harmonizing plan between the KSA's Visit 2030 and the BRI. It is reported that a China GCC summit in Beijing is being scheduled. The India's reaction to this development has been restrained. Apart from historical linkages, the region is in India's approximate neighborhood and within its security parameters. It is the principal source of hydrocarbon imports and increasingly of investments. It is also an important destination for manpower exports apart from being a major trading partner, including projects. The official policy has focused on bilateral relations and avoidance of involvement in bilateral and regional disputes. Given these priorities, India has consciously refrained from speculative ventures in alternative security architectures, apart from supporting cooperative security and the freedom of waterways and of navigation. The region should not be viewed in competition with China without a lateral economic and military capacity, nor should India considers itself a surrogate for those who have been outplayed, at least for the moment, in power games for transitory affections. The first cannot be handled through a re-questioning. Jiaus Salam. We are living in the dark age of Islamophobia. Full stop. Naked, ugly, disconcerting. A sad testimony to the moral squalor of our time. Events across the world compared the United Nations in 2022 to declare March 15th as International Day to combat Islamophobia, to take concrete action in the face of rising hatred, discrimination, and violence against Muslims. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres affirmed that the move is a call for action to stamp out anti Muslim hatred. India, with arguably the second largest Muslim population, opposed the move, saying it is important that the United Nations reminds about such religious matters, which may seek to divide us rather than bring us together on one platform of peace and harmony and treat the world as one family. In reality, India, more than many countries, is in the throes of Islamophobia. It is not about a spate of lynchings anymore. From Dadri in 2015 to Delhi in 2023 are the frequent attacks on mosques and even dargahs, hitherto considered the common place of worship for people across regions, or even hijab politics, where pro and anti-hijab groups which vociferously ranged against one another. It manifests itself most clearly in this urgent, almost desperate bid to remain places built by Sultanate and Mughal rulers. While some towns may have a direct relations to the name of the king or sultan, in many cases the names of cities are either being changed or there is a demand that they be changed solely because they are in Urdu. This is ironic, considering that the Urdu was born in India until not long ago. It was not considered the language of adherents of a particular faith. A case in point is Islamabad, which was built by Nawab Sadat Ali Khan in the 18th century. It was located on a busy trade route connecting east and central Awadh. Yeah, business flourished and people made a lot of profit. As the word phase are successful or victorious, I take the demand to rename Aligarh as Harigarh. Aligarh was so named after the Marathas and not the Mughals took over the fort here called Sabitgarh and Muhammadgarh at various times and renamed it after their governor Najaf Ali Khan. It had even been called Kul. Never was it identified as Arigar, a demand increasingly being made. For hundreds of years, there was no issue with Ali Allahabad and Aurangabad, or Aligarh and Osmanabad, or even Mughal Sarai. The common citizen still doesn't have a problem. Go to Allahabad. Have problem. Go to Allahabad, which was renamed Prayagraj by Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath a few years ago. People still refer to this city as Allahabad, except that the powers that be see everything through tinted glasses. It is immaterial that a city may have been built by a sultan who saved the country from repeated assaults by the Mongols, that a monument may have been built by a Mughal emperor who was born in undivided India in Sindh or Gujarat, ruled from Agra or Delhi, and never set foot abroad, not even to go on a pilgrimage to Mecca. Just the name is sufficient to rouse the right wing brigade. The cases of Mughal Sarai and Aurangabad. In 2018, Mughal Sarai was in focus. It was renamed not after the former Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri, who was born there, but after the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangha ideologue Deen Dayal Upadhyaya, who died there under mysterious circumstances in 1968. The railway station was also painted in saffron shade, making it clear that the government was using the past to settle scores with the present, much like what had happened in Allahabad. The government forgot that the city Mughal Emperor Akbar had founded was Ila was or abode of God and located adjacent to Prague. The word Ila became Halla later during the British time. Niceties, laws, and they driven by bigotry. And those driven by bigotry. This year too, the story played out again. In the keen desire to rename Aurangabad, now Aurangabad, who lies buried in Aurangabad, has been a red rag for Hindutva practitioners and many criticize him with justification for demolishing temples. But there are historians like Catherine B. Asher and Andre Truske who point out that the demolitions were almost always a political act, and there were plenty of occasions when the emperor issued firm bans granting the safety and well-being of Brahmins, even granting them land. A government that is in a tearing hurry to erase any Muslim associations with the city promptly named it after Sambhaji, the eldest son of Shivaji, who was at one time a Mughal Mansardwar and later involved in a combat with fellow Maratha Rajaram to ascend the throne following Shivaji's death in 1680. Sambhaji was captured by the Mughals and executed in 1689 and Aurangabad's order. The Aurangabad renaming to Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar is a peculiar instance where the name of the vector has been replaced with that of the loser, hate and exclusion. All these attempts to tear up the pages of history books come with the potential to tear apart the warp and the whoop of Indian society. Muslims in India may have treated the Mughals and Sultans with the same indifference or irreverence they reserved for, say the Mauryas, the Guptas or the Cholas. The oft repeated expression that those days was history is boring. Now it seems it is divisive. Today they are often pushed into an uncomfortable situation of having to take a position as a Muslim and sane citizen of this country. You may or may not endorse much of what the Sultanate Mughals rulers did, but now they are being forced to resist a majoritarian triumphalism that is bent upon erasing every speck of Muslim influence. Clearly, the right wing proponents are guilty of a craven subjugation to the politics of hate and exclusion, Islamophobia, anyone. As a multi-religious society, it is important to remember that the past cannot be undone through a rechristening. It is wise to stay in the moment, appreciate who we are and what we have achieved. Retribution doesn't pave the way to redemption. Yes, this is editorial page, not a whistleblower. Let me move. The Dinos too has become a political gadfly, dealing with the dissidents in a poll year. The BRS is dealing firmly with the disgruntled leaders but has other challenges ahead. BJP had the edge in recent bipolar contests in Karnataka. No, I was a mine into Pakistan. Judicial panel to probe killing of Atik Radha. G7 ministers committed to work for carbon-free electricity by 2035. Congress pulled from its trans ammunition against AAP. Police say trans assassination act of war terror. European invoked. Show of strength by Maharashtra opposition. Fabricated case says Delhi CM after 9-hour questioning by CBI. Legalizing same-sex unions will improve mental health outcomes among LGBTQAI plus individuals. Satyafal statement shows how consultation was bypassed. CPDP. Defect contest win repeat. It's a brother versus brother clash again in Surabaya. If a defection's anti-incumbency trend to do not throw a challenge at ruling JJP study does. Ticket losers are licking their wounds after spoiling voters with expensive gifts. And Prasad Saud becomes Nepal's new foreign minister. As Berlin shuts its nuclear reactors, Finland opens Europe's largest one. Meeting with Chinese Defense Minister, Putin has military ties. Cash trap with Pakistan increases price of petrol by Rs 10 per litre. "61 dead after clashes between Sudan army and a rebel center second day. Lula moots giant talks with China, UAE and Russia. War. Sri Lanka at 75 is a failed state, says former President Kumar Tunga. It's time to plan your investments finances. Should you invest based on fantasize? This is the page related to investment on a very Monday. It's available. And the sports page. Rahul Atavetia credits chance for his fine finisher labor. And Arjun Tendulkar makes his IPL debut against the Knight Riders. Hardik's ways to avoid injuring his form when bowling. I just try and deliver in the role assigned to me, says Padikkal. Venkatesh stand in vain harm and as Mumbai Indians downs kick. Atman Samson's blistering knocks help rise Trump Titans for the first term. Arsenal's wonders finds in another damaging draw. Heavy Whites battle that is bound to set versus Racing. Traditional rivals Royal Challengers Bangalore and Chennai Super Kings are likely to offer a thrill and minute affair as a galaxy of stars in both teams will make the occasion more special. Bangalore FC held by Blasters but ensures last move spat. Reblu best soon to climb his Miran Masters 100,000 title. Prize money hike for domestic tournaments. Bridge Bush not contest in the WFI's elections. Trust in coach coach very important in achieving success. Neeraj. Enjoy the high voltage atmosphere is lay a seat and thirsty. Text and context had rise in power consumption in 2023 to 2022 to 23 says the CEA. Bilateral trade between US and India rises in financial 23. People suffered heat strokes in Bhushan Award ceremony. The total amount has seized since Karnataka Post announcements 170 crore. Islamic State militants kill civilians in and the outskirts of Hama and democratizing as tiger conservation. Many scientists were happy that Project Tiger at 50 years was able to hold on to tiger population in most of the geographical regions where they existed at its inception. However, in the 2023 preliminary report, for the first time, we find that this world is slipping away. This is the hand of this newspaper page, text and context page, and this is the last page where I can see See, why did Twitter allegedly block access to tweets with Substack links? Substack has 30 million active subscriptions to writers on the platform, including more than 2 million paid subscriptions. Twitter has also been trying hard to get more subscribers to its own view subscription since its launch in November 2022. This is a lost page related to the Twitter account which has been blocked by the Twitter. Yes, I hope it would be very useful for you guys, and please subscribe, like, and comment, and see you in the upcoming videos. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.